Hello and welcome to Still Uncaptured with me, Kgomotso Matsunyane.
And myself, Ndumiso Ngcobo.
Don't forget to always go to Spotify on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock because that's when our episode drops, and a new episode rather. And then you can always go to YouTube on Fridays, also at 9 o'clock.
All right. And of course, on social media, where do people find us? I am on Twitter. At Ndumiso Ngcobo, and on Facebook, Ndumiso Ngcobo, and I'm also at Ndumiso Ngcobo on TikTok.
You can find me on Twitter, at TikTok, and on Instagram. My handle is at Kgomotso Matsu.
Consistency.
You
have to remember what your handle is.
What's Ndumiso on Twitter? What's Ndumiso on the other one? How are you today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm great. And,
Yeah.
How are you? And more importantly, you know how we start this. What are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for my friends.
Your friends.
Yeah, man. I hit the lotto with some of those friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's so important, friends, because some friends come and go. Yeah? A lot of friends come. Actually, most of your friends. When you think about who you were friends with in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, and now in your 50s, it kind of morphs because you meet people, they fascinate you, you get to be friends with them. As a parent, I would imagine a lot of your friendships also are around your children. What you do during the holidays, who you become friends with, playmates and all that kind of stuff that you have to plan play dates for.
Yeah, and I remember the year 2014 in particular. 2014 was for me a very interesting year because I terminated actively, personally, one friendship after 25 years. And the other one, someone just decided to go all silent on me.
Right.
It's just like, okay. And this is like after 15 years, you know?
Right.
So I get what you mean, like with friends,
The friends that I have been amazing, you know, in terms of the last couple of years being incredibly difficult for me personally.
Yeah.
And in terms of being a shoulder to cry on, sometimes borrowing me money, and just being there and like doing nice things for me, just sort of like buy me a pedicure or buy me a ticket to Cape Town because they know that I miss my place there. Do you understand?
Or actually buy you a holiday where you get to have your passport stamped. Why are you talking about Cape Town?
Twice. That's true friends. So I was just thinking last night that I am so blessed because there's none of that pettiness. It's like proper adult friendships.
Yes.
And some of them are overseas, so it's not like it's people that I see. It's relationships that are maintained via the phone or via social media. Some of them I don't see because they're in Cape Town, and some of them are here in Johannesburg. So if you've got good friends, hang on to them. Because on the flip side, what's interesting is that I've also lost friends that I just thought were going to be friends for life.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you thought like this is going to be Pinchoza for life, and they betray you in such a way that you find unforgivable. Although technically, the Buddhist in me says that everything is forgivable. Yes, even murder. You know what I mean? Because it's about your personal growth. And if you're harboring hate, and if you're harboring resentment, it weighs on you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise.
You know, it's so interesting. You're talking about friends and that sort of thing. Particularly friends that you've had for years, and I know he won't mind me, talking about him because, he's been my friend. There's there's no shame in being friends with each other. We've been friends for, my goodness, now I'm about to say it, and it's like 44 years.
Right.
44 years of unbroken friendship, and I'm not talking about friendship where sometimes you're not talking to each other. I'm talking about like unbroken friendship. Usfiso myself. He lost his number. He lost his phone. And just because he's weird like that. I mean, my friend, Mamganam, you weird. You are a strange human being. Right? He just decided, no, he's not going to do a SIM swap. And he's just going to just see. And I'm like, so I call him. I think after about 2 weeks of not talking to him, I say to him, oh, I've been trying to call you, man. Where are you? And he says, Yeah. You owe me $1,500. I'm like, why? He's like, 2 weeks. You didn't contact me in 2 weeks. And he's like, no, he's given no one his new number. He's like, I just want to see who's going to call me. I just want to see who's going to call. So that's very interesting. Eh?
Yeah, he was testing you a little bit. But what are you grateful for?
Ooh, great gratitude. As human beings, one of the things that I think that you and I on this show, Still Uncaptured, the original Uncaptured even when we were doing Good Morning Gauteng like years ago, we always used to talk about this, about how people don't particularly like to share their lows, particularly in the social media space. And one thing that you and I have been very good at is when shit hits the fan and I'm not okay, we are not afraid to talk about the fact that,
I'm not okay.
I had a rough time.
Right.
And sometimes, with people that know you and they love you and they say to you, hey, sometimes you overshare, So I went through a dip, just about a week ago where I really was not okay. I just did not want to get up from bed. 36 hours, I was just alternating from just getting up to drink water, have something to eat, go back to bed and just sleep, missing appointments, missing, and I didn't even feel like explaining myself to people.
Right.
You
just checked out.
When you just check out and you're just like, I really don't want to see the world.
Or I can't. It's not also
can't.
For some reason, it's like you were giving me an example of sending an SMS.
An SMS,
You were saying to me, I'm sorry, I couldn't even send a WhatsApp.
WhatsApp,
Because I just didn't feel like it.
I didn't.
I get it.
And it was like, you get to a point where you almost get angry at people without them saying anything to you because they're expecting you to text and say whatever. You resent them for it, And then what happened is I kind of went on and put my big boy panties on and sucked it up. But also, it's also because my last born, Sihayo's matric dance was coming up, right? And I'm thinking, I cannot be this person. He's having his matric dance out there at Emperor's Palace and whatever. He's excited. He needs his father to be excited with him. It's such a milestone. He's only ever going to be going to his matric dance only once in his life,
Right.
And I have to be there. And by the time it came, blue seemed bluer, green seemed greener. It was a beautiful day. And I was just sitting there, just watching him, because in your head, sometimes even the pictures in the house don't help, because you look at the pictures and there's still that residual image of them when they were tiny little things. And now I'm watching him. He's this grown man. He's wearing this sharp suit and his shoes are all
Vumezita I've seen, but I haven't seen Sayo in a long time. How tall is he?
Probably about an inch taller than I am now.
Okay.
With cornrows.
Right.
Him with his almost unibrow. He's thick. So he's just, I'm looking at this grown man and his friend and his beautiful date. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I am so lucky. Do you know what I mean? And this is my last born. And I have been so lucky with all of my children. And I was telling my daughter last night on the phone, and I don't tell you guys enough to your faces how proud I am of you. I really am, my children. I'm proud.
Yeah.
And my children, I can point to them. I am not ashamed of it. They're all making me proud in their own way.
Listen, you make me proud as a father.
Yeah.
Because of how you take care of your children.
Yeah.
It's such a priority for you. And I think people take it for granted. But you are a living, active father. For all the time that I've known you with your children, you are present, you take them to school, and good schools, expensive schools. Okay, you have just been there. So it's been a marvel because the way that you father is very rare in South Africa. It's very rare. So I hope you are proud of yourself as I'm proud of you.
And I absolutely have to say this. And I have to say, the mothers of my children, my wife, and the mother of my other children, they are I cannot sit here and lap this up all on my own.
Right.
I dare not. I really should not, because my children could sit here, all 4 of them, and they could have an entire 6-hour episode about all the times that I let them down.
Right.
So when someone comes and says to me
Right.
that I'm doing well, because I also do believe that I'm doing well.
But all parents let us down, guys.
Yeah, I
Parents
know.
are people.
Yeah.
They're fallible. They're full of it also. They're complicated.
Yes,
They're
it's very complicated.
Full human beings who are complicated, who are still suffering from their own traumas.
Still figuring out. I'm still figuring it out.
At 53, we are still figuring out, what am I going to do when I grow up?
And I've been a father for almost 31 years now.
Yeah.
Four times. And here's the thing about children. Each and every one of them so totally different from the other.
Right.
So you do not know what to do with this one because
Right.
you've never seen this before.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I'm grateful for.
Excellent. Well, it's been an incredible week of news in South Africa. I'm not sure when this episode is going out, but today we just found out before shooting this episode that a couple of things have happened. Julius Malema has been convicted of bang bang.
Of discharging a firearm in public.
That's right.
This is from 2018, right? When
Something like that. I can't
Yeah,
remember
I
the
think
date.
it was the EFF's fifth year celebrations out in East London.
Right.
And I know this because I was there on that particular day.
Okay.
And I actually did see the EFF crowd come in, and I was just sitting with some people having drinks. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's who they co-accused? I can't remember, the white guy.
Yeah. No, actually, saying the white guy, because I mean that's part of the conversation. Whoever
Right.
he is, right? Yeah.
It's part of the story.
Yeah.
The white guy, whatever his name is, bit good enough, was found innocent, which I find very interesting. So it says a couple of things, because I thought if one is guilty, then both of them are guilty. He discharged a firearm and it was allegedly given to him by the white guy. So how...
And in the footage, you can actually see after he discharges,
He gives it back.
He gives it to the white guy, who then disappears off screen, right?
Right.
So, which is, I suppose, part of the evidence that was used to, I suppose, charge him as well, to say, well, he was an accomplice.
Right.
So how does this work? And we've got to be honest with each other, right? And say this, that what we know about the law is dangerous. Do you know what I mean?
Well, how little I know about the law is dangerous.
It's very, really, we know very little. I know very little, right? However, one thing that I know about the law is that not only must justice be done, but it must also be seen to be done. It's a very important legal principle, that. And right now, as you're sitting there, does it seem that justice was done? Does it look like it? When there are two people and there's a gun discharged, but the other person is not guilty.
See, this goes to the absolute core of the Madlanga Commission.
Yeah.
About a different set of justice depending on who you are in society. Some people get preferential treatment, some people don't. This is what General Mkhwanazi was warning us about the rot within the criminal justice system itself.
Yeah.
So I look at that and I'm just kind of like, it doesn't make sense. Why wasn't the white guy also found guilty? If they had both been found guilty or both been found not guilty, it would make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I'm wondering to myself, is it racism? Is it a matter of just trying to get something on Julius, whatever the circumstances? Because I'm watching the way, for example, AfriForum presented a dossier to the United States government about Julius Malema. And I'm thinking to myself, he threatens you that much. So it is not lost on me that white monopoly capital despise Julius Malema and that they will do whatever it is, including influencing the court system, to make sure that he doesn't get justice or that he looks worse moving forward.
You know, big words, and of course, I mean, this is an opinion which we are entitled to these opinions, but it's what you are speaking to is, for me, one of those things that sometimes I try very hard to not be led by emotion, because all of us, depending on who our favorites are, because everyone's got favorites, right? And so on. But people have been talking about this for years now, to say, in South Africa, how the law is dispensed. So, for instance, if you and I were to sit here with a legal expert and say, let's sit here and have 10 hours, and let's discuss the Zondo Commission and what the findings were of the Zondo Commission and who the Zondo Commission found to have been offside. And you ask yourself, well, what happened to them? When was the Zondo Commission? Never mind the fact that people are asking questions such as the terms of reference, the narrow terms of reference about what state capture is. For instance, someone like Advocate Moses Kakane, who's an advocate, has been harping on this for years now to say those terms of reference were weird in the sense that they almost narrowed it down to it really should have been called the Gupta Commission, because he was talking here, and he makes a good point where every single state in the world is captured in some form or another.
Right.
So if we wanted to have a commission on state capture, why didn't we have a state capture commission on all kinds of state capture? Because we know that state capture is wide. Speaking of Julius has been talking about the fact that, the Ruperts have captured the state, the Oppenheimers. And I'm saying these words because it's out on public record that people have said state is captured. And so even someone, and just because sometimes we don't like people's politics, when they speak, we don't really listen. Former President Jacob Zuma has been also saying about this thing about justice, that justice in this country seems to be, it depends, Some animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Right.
So it's a very interesting case. I'm going to be very interested because Julius is going to appeal this.
He's already said. I was listening to him give a rousing speech because he's great at demagoguery. And
he loves courts. He loves courts.
Because they make him look stronger. Because when you make someone a victim, like the Msholozi syndrome,
yes,
the system is making Julius to be a victim.
Yes.
Certainly from black eyes. I'm sure our white listeners will have very different perspectives.
I know.
Because we all feel very differently about Julius Malema, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering though, to what end, our system is so corrupted. The Zondo Commission, would you say that for you, what was the purpose? Like, we got the Zondo Commission, it got results. Now what?
Yeah.
So what happens now?
There are people.
Business as usual.
There are people who are in cabinet who swore again, who are members of parliament, who swore again, to the constitution of that they are going to uphold with the Bible to the constitution of South Africa. Zondo findings hanging over here. Do you know what I mean?
Were you listening to Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi the other day when he was asked about the Tembisa hospital saga, when it was discovered that it's actually closer to 2 billion, and somebody made the point that a billion is a million times 1,000. Do you understand? And I was just like, it's so much.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend how much money we're actually talking about. He said something very interesting. He said, I understand why in China they take such extreme action against public servants who have been found to be practicing malfeasance or stealing state money. They kill you in China.
No, firing squad. No, not even.
You are killed.
Not lethal injection. People with guns stand you up against the wall and shoot you, right? So, and here's the thing about being in your 50s. As you grow older and you go into your 50s, we all slightly go a bit more conservative. 20 years ago, the idea of saying, and because I suspect where you're going with this is maybe here in South Africa as well, we need to make malfeasance and corruption, particularly against the state, far more serious.
So what Motsoaledi was saying is that this is treason. it should be charged as treason, because remember the people who died Tembisa Hospital, and there was one particular guy, Shoni, I can't remember his surname, who was pleading to Minister Zweli Mkhize at the time on TikTok to say, I haven't eaten in 2 days and everything is a mess. When people die, we know the consequences. That 2 billion was supposed to go somewhere. So it makes, I'm completely against the death penalty.
Yeah.
Not as Kgomotso Matsunyane, just as a principle. I'm against the death penalty.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I was listening to Motsoaledi and I'm saying, I'm feeling so hurtful about the corruption in this country and the fact that there's no consequences and nobody ever has to pay anything back. And I'm so frustrated that we are stuck in this rut, that for treason, and treason that is directly linked to eating public money, I think I'm willing to reconsider.
And remember, there is a family that is still grieving because of a whistleblower that is related to that particular hospital.
There is a family. I think Tembisa Hospital should be renamed the Babita Duwarakan Hospital, because that woman, we owe so much to her.
So much,
somebody whose name doesn't get mentioned a lot, ever so often, but I really want to see him on stand, is the CEO of Tembisa Hospital when all this was taking place. Because there is no ways in hell, Ndumiso, that all of this was taking place. 2 billion on your watch, and you didn't know anything about it, or most importantly, also didn't benefit from it.
Two things there about the treason suggestion. I have a friend again, Vusumuzi Shong, Umavur. He's been saying this again for like probably 2 decades now. He is like, guys, anyone who steals money, public funds, that there should be an automatic, you know, like how even when you are not guilty of someone crosses the street and you are busy driving at night and you didn't see them and they were drunk, you hit them. Just by law, there has to be a case of culpable homicide opened against you, whether you are guilty of it or not. And I think that particularly when it comes to public funds, anyone who is, there's a whiff that you took public money, there should be like a standard thing to look at. Is there not a case for treason here?
Right.
I really agree with that notion. But also, you know, I think about this, and I think about the Tembisa Hospital, and because I know you're talking about the CEO, I know so many people, and it's probably easy for me to feel this way because I've got so many friends in the public service. Hey, listen, Kgomotso, there are a lot of people who are in the public service. Good public servants.
Not stealing anything.
They are not stealing.
They're not taking bribes.
You know, I know someone personally who was in a directorship who literally, her life was threatened. She was taken to one of these fancy hotels, Nelson Mandela Square, whatever, you know, whether is it, you know, one of those fancy ones. I can't even remember which one. Michelangelo, probably. And basically made to sign a document that had been standing, and basically it was like, hey, sis, we know you. So the thing about it is, I know you're talking about the CEO, but that is someone who, even whether they are a deployee or not, but that is just someone who is doing a job. It is for me, it is politicians, whoever the politicians that these CEOs report to, because I know so many CEOs and COOs and chief directors whose hands are like this. Guys, like seriously, like this notion that we've had that we need to disabuse ourselves of, there are no saints and there are no sinners when it comes to politicians. Everyone is just as bad. For me, that is. And I hear
of
you
all
about
different parties.
Of all, across the board.
Across the board.
It's not as if I'm saying that the ACDP is okay.
Right.
I'm not saying that the DA is okay. No. I'm just saying politicians. And we really, and I don't know, do we have the politicians we deserve, or do we deserve better?
I think we deserve better. I really think we deserve better. See, this whole thing of not punishing people, people going on special leave, people, okay, now you're no longer minister, but you're still in parliament. There's a weirdness about a lack of consequences. I was reading the other day about former French President Nicolas Sarkozy, who has been sentenced to jail.
Yeah.
he's also appealing. But you understand, he's been sentenced to jail. So in other countries, politicians can and do go to jail. And when something like this happens, it's not a matter of, oh, let's do an investigation. Oh, let's do a commission. It's like, first of all, you're out now. You're implicated, so you're out now. And second, we'll discuss later. We'll apologize later. We'll pay you whatever we need to. But I think people should be completely made to resign on the spot should there be these accusations leveled at them.
You know, speaking of which, another former minister of ours was no longer with us.
Speaking of France and Nicolas Sarkozy, we've just also found out that former Minister of Police, former Minister of Arts and Culture, Natim Tetwa, died a very tragic, horrible, suspicious death in Paris where he's allegedly jumped. It's the suspicion so far, okay, is that he jumped from the 22nd floor. Allegedly, there's a suicide letter.
Yes.
You would remember that he was mentioned at the Madlanga Commission very recently, like in the last week.
Fingered by the general himself.
That's the journalistic term. He was.
Right.
He was. Directly.
Directly, yeah.
So we don't know.
By General Mkwanazi.
By General
And
Mkwanazi.
right now, and we need to be make it very clear. So whoever's watching this, whenever they do, understand that this is when they are still leading evidence. There hasn't been cross-examination. We haven't heard from the other side.
Right.
But as we sit here and
he hasn't had a right of reply.
Exactly.
Right, and all of that.
So, yeah. It's interesting. Because let's get this out of the way. It is also just very well possible that this is a tragic accident.
Right.
I don't think anyone believes what I just said. Neither do I. Right? So,
right. Highly unlikely. What are the chances?
What are the chances? And I don't know. I mean, everyone's speculating. I mean, what could it be?
And it's going to be a lot more speculation.
And there are a whole lot of people who are saying, we call bullshit about this alleged suicide note. It needs to be checked forensically.
Which it should, yeah.
Because the number of people who were potential witnesses in cases involving the state that have fallen from buildings
is
a little bit too much for a coincidence.
Right. Or been victims of crime.
Yeah.
Because South Africa is a country that's very easy to hide a murder because we have such high violence in the country and murder rates.
This is why Diwani brought it here.
This is why Diwani brought his wife here to kill her,
to kill her, because it was basically taking cold to
Another weird thing about the South African justice system. People confessed to killing Annie Diwani.
Yes.
And confessed that her husband bought them. They're in jail. Of course, they're black.
Yeah.
Where's Diwani? Somewhere in Europe, having a fabulous time.
And apparently he's remarried, isn't he?
A man. Or a woman.
I don't know. I think I read that. I think I read that some.
Anyway.
And it's also very important to say that, people who know the law much better than you and I do will always say that when we talk about the law, we must never confuse what is fair and what is just. And that there's a distinction. And that sometimes everyone in the courtroom, including the judge, can look at someone and go, you're guilty as hell.
Right.
But evidence. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And this is the thing about it.
See, my problem,
Yeah.
I suffer from a perpetual case of righteous indignation.
Yeah.
I believe in justice.
Yeah.
I don't know where I think I've seen it because the world is not just.
Yeah.
The system is certainly not just.
Yeah.
So I live in a perpetual state where I'm constantly worried about something because I have this righteous indignation. We grew up during apartheid. Things were black and white.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Black is right, white is wrong. And the white people are oppressing us and we're going to get our freedom back from them and everything is going to be hunky-dory. Well, I wouldn't say hunky-dory exactly. It's not exactly how things turned out to be.
And this is one of the reasons I think that you and I complement each other so well. Because that I am always likely to play devil's advocate.
Right.
Because I've got to be honest, I don't believe in justice.
Right.
Because for the same reason, Because I've never seen it. I've never seen justice in my life. I really just know that I know it makes me, I don't know whether it makes me a cynic or a skeptic. I think a combination of both, but I kind of see life in terms of the shades of gray in between. I don't.
Can you imagine how difficult life is for me?
I know.
Because it's so binary, like that's unjust, that's just. No, actually, it's kind of muddy.
It's not. Yeah, it might seem unjust, but the question is it technically like is that technically all the evidence? Because we remember that justice has to satisfy one of the highest bars
beyond a reasonable
doubt.
Right.
If there is any doubt, and also judges are as human beings are not infallible. So
right.
What happens with them is as they write their judgments, they are so cognizant of the fact that they're not only just writing a judgment to check whether Julius or the white guy is guilty or not guilty. They're also writing it up in such a way that a higher court, they're also writing for the higher court
right.
that is very likely to look at their judgment and say, ooh, you erred here,
right.
you erred here.
Right.
And sometimes they're just leaving it up
right.
to a higher court.
Yeah, completely.
I think.
Yeah. Do you think, what could Julius do? He's going to appeal the conviction?
Yeah.
I suppose it depends on what the outcome of that will be.
So here's another thing about justice that I know this will frustrate you. Julius, I'm not suggesting that, I'm not making any suggestions about where he gets his money. But Julius, I can tell you right now, has got infinite resources to keep this in court there are people who are right now 70 years old who will die peacefully in their sleep at the age of 82, who will not be around to see the end of this particular case because it can go on.
Right.
And on and on, and it can go to the Supreme Court. It can take forever. If you've got money, here's the thing about justice. If you have got money, which is why you will never take on any corporation, you won't.
Right, because you lose.
Ask Nkosana Makati. Ask him. There's no point. If someone has got infinite resources to keep going back to court, they can keep this court. And so my prediction is that in the next 10 years, not likely.
See, this is why we were also saying that all politicians are messed up in one way or another. And why we keep calling for a simple lifestyle audit. For a person who earns $1.4 million per year to have a property portfolio of 21 million. How?
Yeah.
How?
Can you prove that there's such a property? Where's your evidence?
Well, the trust apparently Ratanan Trust is there. But if you were to look at all politicians who all have trusts or family foundations, right? Like the amount of money they are making from the taxpayers is not equal to the amount of money they are making in real life. And their families, and these are the ones that we know about. Yeah. Because you also get your wife in there, your child in there, your girlfriend in there. Do you understand?
All I have to say to you before we move on is that just be grateful that you are not living in Kigali and you are not in Rwanda. But also having said all of that, the next time you press a button and it's going to the 22nd floor, be very, very afraid because of the things that you say.
Because of the things that I say.
Yeah.
But that's the thing in South Africa, right? It's that there are consequences for speaking. We all say like, oh, we can say whatever we want. And you and I say this a lot. Yeah. Well, we can say, technically you can. But don't think there's no consequences because the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And you never know which ones, but the gatekeepers, they're listening and they've got long memories and they are petty as fuck.
So when you and I say that we can say whatever it is that we feel like saying, what we're actually saying is, that line from We Are the World?
Yep.
There's a choice we're making.
Yeah.
We're certainly not saving our lives, though.
We're fucking up our lives, quite frankly, because we'd get a lot more work if we would just shut up about the politicians, because they certainly don't like it. But anyway, at some point, you talk about justice, right? At some point, I would really like to get into the possibility of restorative justice on this show. Do you understand?
Ooh, that's a huge topic.
Because that's a huge topic. Because if we're talking about justice, there's different ways of justice, and other countries do things differently. And it's something that I want us to talk about, because I think my overinflated sense of justice needs to be tempered down, and that there are other ways of achieving retribution or some compensation.
Interesting idea.
Compensation.
Don't go away. We're back just now.
Welcome back to the show. So, speaking all things malfeasance and justice, there was a court ruling recently that, remember our friend Hlaudi, the organic intellectual Matsunyane, who became a CEO of a corporation.
The vet's lecture.
Without even having a metric, you know?
Yeah.
He left the SABC with a payout of something like 11 million rands. And there was a ruling recently that the people who made the decision to award him the money,
the three executives.
three executives, must pay it back. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I've got two thoughts. The first thought is, yay, about effing time that people are found personally liable for the decisions that they take under the cover of institutions.
Right.
Because very often we point fingers at institutions and we say, the SABC is corrupt. The SABC is wasting our money. ESCOM is wasting our money. And then you sit there and you're like, well, ESCOM, I mean, it's not like the acronym ESCOM is going around making these decisions. There are people making these decisions. And where it can be proven, where it is so clear that people flouted processes, did the wrong thing. And I am not for 1 second, because I have never sat down and I'm loath to talk about situations, particularly judgments I haven't read, and I have not followed the minute details of the Hlaudi case about whether he really was actually supposed to pay back this 11 million.
Right.
But I'm assuming that if courts found that he was supposed to, then it means that was happening. So for me, it's just like, I hope that it sets a precedent that says when you are busy dispensing your duties on behalf of certain organizations, regardless of what the culture is in that particular organization, at some point there's got to be personal liability, right? So that's my first thought.
Okay.
And then there's a point within me that says, however, if I say that, why hasn't it applied elsewhere where people have been given golden handshakes, and then they've been made to pay it back?
See, you're assuming that these people made this decision. It'll be interesting. I hope they appeal it so that we can hear more.
Because in the same episode, I just said...
You just said this. Some people have their hands tied. Do you think they just decided, we must give Hlaudi because he deserves it? No, there was pressure. There was a board. There were principals.
So you are standing where I was standing and I am standing where you were standing. I love it. Don't I? Consistency, right? Because consistency is a very difficult thing to achieve, right?
Yeah.
So here's the question is, I'm assuming that the court would have then looked at this case and these people would have had to make submissions during Hlaudi's case, right? And if there was someone pressuring me to do this, I'd be like, no.
And that's what I suggest for these people. It's like, if you really want to, because first of all, we know that they don't have this money. They may have given it to, and Hlaudi's not going to share it either.
No.
Why would he? He's not going to share it. He's never, I don't think he's that kind of character to begin with. They don't have this money. So I don't think they have a choice. And I really hope they get a good defender, because I have a feeling that it's not like these people were just deciding, because he was also on his way out. So it's not like it was going to do them any good. Staying in the corporation where he's no longer boss and can't give you what you need.
Yo, man, you'd have to go back to the old days of SAA and Andrew Coleman, who was, I think, paid, what was it, over 100 million, whatever, to actually look at all these decisions and who was making these decisions. So here's the thing for me, is that at some point, there's got to be a son of man, a sacrificial lamb that is going to, basically, we put them on the sacrificial altar and say, for everyone else who's a CEO, who's an executive, for them to be able, remember I was talking about, you made, was it like either the Maslow or whatever it was, the Michelangelo, someone that I know that was like literally told, by someone to go meet them there, and they were just forced to sign documents where they had for months said, I can't sign this.
Right.
And they were being threatened. For all of us to start thinking twice, particularly when you are talking about public funds.
Yeah.
Because we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, we do have to start somewhere.
We really have to start somewhere for people to know that they can be held personally liable.
Yeah.
But like I said, and I suppose you're right, if these three executives are able to then, that word again, finger someone upwards to say, I know.
Ndumiso, you said I must do. Exactly. Yes.
I hope that they do.
I hope they do
and
that.
I hope that whoever made the judgment is hoping that this is what it leads to, because I imagine they will challenge it in court. And if they challenge it in court, they'll have to say, no, Bani, Minister Bani, or whoever, or DG, or whoever it is that put this pressure.
But what the Nuremberg trials taught us, right, is that ultimately you might be a soldier fighting in a war, but that responsibility is also on you.
Yeah, that is also very true.
You can't just, because Hitler
Again, it goes back to how it is that we started this, or did we end the previous segment, where we say it's not as if these people had guns to their head. Hey,
we don't know.
Although we've also just spoken about Babita.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, and this is where it gets so complicated. Eh?
Yeah.
And this is why I am not one of those people that are black or white.
Yeah.
And I always acknowledge the grays in between, because, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, did these people have a choice? Did they have a choice?
I don't think so. Especially like the way Saudi was running that corporation, Lekorotsoana.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody would have had to give them the go ahead.
And also there's someone who could also come to you and make a very strong argument that maybe what they did was actually for the greater good of the organization, to say,
to get him out.
At least, Amber, can we just try and fix it now?
Guys, we come from the days of Saudi. Whatever. What did we do ever to deserve that? It's going to be interesting to watch. There's all these cases, and they're all around corruption. I feel like we're coming towards some kind of cathartic moment. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out.
The cynic in me is saying, nah, we've been here before. Many times.
I'm feeling something else.
Really?
I am. I'm feeling like the public appetite for bullshit is kind of reaching its ceiling. And when you and I talk about how poor people are right now, you and I are feeling poor because we're underemployed, we're looking for opportunities, we're freelancers. We might as well be unemployed.
Yeah.
We see people who are in much worse conditions than us, so we feel lucky. But I think that the nerves are frayed for the average South African, and you can push us so far. And it'll be something quite unlikely that probably sparks it. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping. Let me be honest. I'm hoping. I'm not thinking that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Eternally
But I hope that you're right. As much as I am skeptical,
Right.
I hope that you're right.
So let's talk about something quite different that also happened in this news cycle. All right. That promises nirvana. And you know what upsets me is that, so there were issues of rumors of a rapture
Yes.
that was going to take place on the 22nd, I think, of September.
Whatever date it was, yeah.
Right? So Rapture, I'm reading like, what's this Rapture? And then you find out apparently there's a South African man. Even people in the United States and all over the world were talking about the Rapture. It was started by a South African man who apparently has subsequently apologized for getting.
Oh, has he?
Apparently. So my question is, I wasn't worried about the rapture because I knew that life is going to continue, and it's ridiculous to actually think of a rapture happening as we speak. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Did the pastor, the South African man, did he apologize, shame, to the poor girl who sent an internal email in an auditing firm, international?
No. Can you
imagine?
imagine?
How bad must you be? Because I can only imagine. I mean, right now it's the middle of the day. Is she at work?
Right. Doesn't look anybody in the eye. Can you imagine? But I bet you.
I'm sorry.
I bet you. Here's my fear. I bet you she's proud of herself. I think she's feeling king. They are giving her blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings. They're like, you are going to heaven. She has guaranteed her ticket to get into heaven, that girl. So at KPMG, she may be laughed at. Mara, in her church, she is the queen. So here's the question that I have for you. Assuming that the rapture happened, right?
Yeah.
Assuming that the rapture happened, let's just say, Jay, it's the end of days. Siyafa sonke. And we know this. We have the beauty of knowing that in 24, 48 hours, we're all going to be dead.
We know this for a fact.
We know this for a fact.
This has been proven. There is evidence.
The
sky opened and a white man with a grey beard with his son seated at the right hand.
He told me personally.
And said, guys.
Right.
On the 10th of
Get your shit together.
Okay, so
I'm cleaning out this.
So there's that. Okay, the first thing first. You know, me being a non-believer.
Yeah.
That day I'd feel so stupid. Flip.
The belief itself.
Right,
so suspend your disbelief.
Okay, cool.
Or your belief, whichever one works.
Right,
so me, I would have the biggest party. And I'm not talking about people, whatnot, like personal party.
Yes.
You know, sure, I'll have loved ones around me. I'll be with my mom, but she must know what's going to happen with me when the rapture comes.
You're assuming that your mom has got plans that have you in mind. When the rapture comes, you are making such decisions.
I would go out with a bang.
Oh, yeah.
I would buy lots of alcohol. I would do all the drugs I wanted to do, but was too fearful of. I'd have cocaine, crack, heroin. We're going to die. We're going to die.
No, you know what? There is I can't remember who the English poet is who talks about dying with a bang, not a whimper.
Right.
Like how? Oh, I'd go out with a bang. Oh. And when I say a bang, I actually mean literally. Okay, baby, baby, I love you. My wife, I love you. This is for entertainment. But I would be making calls.
Of like that last one.
Like, since 1991, I've always thought you and I could make magic. I'd be making phone calls. I'd be like on the off chance, because you never know. This is the World Wide Web, right? I mean, one of our followers could be Tony Braxton. Tony girl, if I hit you, you must know.
Make my dreams come
Make
true.
my dreams come true. But also, I have had this idea for a long time, and I realize that at my age, I am far more likely to do the things I say I'm going to do than ever before, right?
Okay.
And I feel so much more in charge of the things I'm going to do in my future. And I have told my son, Vumezita, that when I turn 70, him and I, part of what I will be doing is part of my birthday celebrations for my 70th, assuming I hold out that long, right, is I am going to go and get tattoos. We're going to get tattoos together, right? Because I don't have, as you well know, I don't have a single tattoo. I will break this rule just once to put my organ donor tattoo, because I have to do that, but that won't be just for me. So I have got about 16 and a bit years to decide what tattoo. And I'm talking about tattoos like the whole arm. Like when I turn 70, and I don't care what I'll be doing.
You know
at
what's
the time.
cute?
What?
What's cute is that you think you can get a whole arm in one day.
No.
and withstand the
Of
pain.
course I know. It's going to be.
Although, because it's going to be the Rapture, drugs will be available. So, never mind. You're fine. You're fine.
No, but so for the Rapture, oh my God, I am so that day sitting there on mushrooms. Wangudla, I'll be on mushrooms getting my arm tattooed. There is nothing. I'm just like you. There is absolutely nothing that I wouldn't.
But you said something the other day that killed me when we were planning for the show. You said you would also call everybody, or you would go on social media and tell off a whole bunch of people. What's that all about?
I promise you, also when I turn 70, and I've been writing about this for now almost 20 years as well, is the fact that I have this belief that when people are in their 70s, they have earned the right to just say whatever the hell is on their minds. And it reminds me of my grandma. My grandmother had no filters. My maternal grandmother, Margaret, right? So even now, never mind the Rapture, even now, I'm planning that when I'm 70, I'm just going to be going around telling people. You and I know people who are in their 80s and the filters. So I would be sitting there on Facebook and Twitter telling everyone off what I really, really, really think about them. That day you will find out what I really, really think about you. It's like really deep inside my heart. In that place.
I've just been barely tolerating you, Matsunyane. The shit you made me go through.
Because quite honestly, the idea of the Rapture for me would be like knowing. And here's the interesting question about the conversation we're having about the Rapture is, if this is what you would do if you knew that on the 10th of October, the Rapture was coming, what is really stopping you from doing all of that stuff now?
The consequences of my actions. Consequences. Hey, kuna consequence, Ndumiso.
I know about consequences, but if you actually took all this list, right, of all the things you really want to do, are you trying to tell me that in your list there aren't things in there that you actually think to yourself, maybe I could actually do this even if there is actually no Rapture? Because for me, as I was thinking about it as we were planning the show, I was like, what is stopping me from doing some of these things? Because in my life, I have never taken a line of cocaine ever.
Right.
Ever coke. It's like one of those things where I'm just like, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out that I like it.
Right. Oksalayo.
Yeah, so cocaine. So that's one of those things that fall in the list of things that I wouldn't do unless there was the Rapture.
Right.
Because if there was the Rapture,
well then.
If as people say, when Al Pacino, for instance, was doing the movie Heat with De Niro, he was all coked out. Then I want to feel what it's like to be
that coked out.
Because remember how in that movie, because even with Scent of a Woman, people are like, I'll in between takes.
He was on something.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right. Well, ma'am, do you think Al Pacino cares what I think about
I
him?
can dream. Have some ambition, Mapaloba. But in any case, we've got a huge announcement because we can interact and meet our audience at a live event sponsored by Spotify on the 25th of October at Victoria Yards. So for 200 rands, actually it's 150 rands on Quicket if you buy ahead of time and 200 rands at the door. That's what we're going to be doing. And you know what we're doing?
This show.
Basically. But
This show specifically?
yes.
Which part?
The family meeting. The original family meeting before it was stolen by Ramaphosa's people. We're going to have the original family meeting at Victoria Yards, Spotify live sessions.
We are going to be there. We are going to be there in the flesh.
Yes, we are.
We're going to be seated there and you get to participate.
Yes.
We will, you know how we do. We'll very likely have guests with us on the day. We'll start out because if you are one of the new followers of Uncaptured, the new version, Still Uncaptured, how the family meeting worked is a very simple idea. And the simple idea is we'll always come up with a proposition, some kind of topic. And what we do is we first share exactly what happened with us, some story from the past, or what likely we have done, but always very personal, including our guests. And then you also get to participate in this particular conversation.
You're going to be the star of the show, so be sure to join us. Thank you so much for being with us and for loving Still Uncaptured. Next time.